In a world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil. And not like always, I have a lot more people in the house representing, but that is still the same pain in the ass. GameTime. Bryan is in the house. What's up, GameTime? How is it going this evening?
Primetime Phil, it is going great, man. I'm doing wonderful, and shout out to that new opening. Come on, man. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Irvin in the opener, man. I love that. That gets me hype. I'm ready for some football, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really, really good. I got some people poking into the studio trying to see what's going on. But I'm excited this week. Each week we've been kind of going through.
Man. They got, every star in tonight, so all the girls want to come in and check him out.
Yeah, we're gonna hopefully that'll help our numbers here, and especially when he whips out the Jerry Jones impersonation, then I'll have to turn off the lights. Anyways, before we not even waste any more time, let me bring in our special guest Mike Tag and of course Kelly K-9. You guys are a nice combo together, but I appreciate you guys coming on the show for us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I didn't want to jump in front of Kelly. I appreciate it, man. I'm hyped to be here. I'm excited. Getting this season so close. A couple more days. Get this thing started.
And how you feeling, Kelly?
I'm feeling good, man. Thanks for having us both on, man. It's always nice to come in and talk some Cowboys football with you fine folks. And, football's in the air, man. It's pretty much here, man. We're about to start training camp, so the juices start to get flowing, and now I can stop trolling Eagles fans. And
dude, I love it, don't you? That's the best.
The Cowboys.
So that's the
last time we had Kelly on. He was awesome enough to stay at work, man. He got stuck in between, and he didn't want to get in his car. My man was in the office, because we went like a good, a little over an hour. So I really appreciate you guys coming back. You guys are killing it, man, on your channels. Mike, I know you said your brother, I think, gets all the guests. I don't care. You guys are killing it. And I don't always get to see it live, but I always try and tune in later. So I know there's a lot of people in here now that I see over there. But, man, you guys are doing great, man. And thank you so much for joining the show. Let's talk some Cowboys, right, Phil?
Yeah, we're talking about the Cowboys offseason. We've had these guys on to know, that we've talked a little bit about the offseason, but now as a whole and going into training camp, we finally signed a kicker. These little things that people take for granted, but as Cowboy fans, you cannot, because it becomes drama. It does not matter what type, it's just drama in general. But now that we're around the corner, we can kind of stop the riot. Now, okay, we're never going to stop the rival crap talking, but we can at least start talking about some people hitting each other. So, Bryan, do you want to kind of start us off and any kind of questions or subjects?
I'm going to be negative. I have Mike in the house. He's Mr. Positive. He's our good luck charm. It seems like when we need to win, he's usually in the building. He guaranteed a win in Tampa last year. We got that Tom Brady curse off our back. I'm going to need him to talk me off a ledge. I'm going to start out negative. If anybody saw my latest video, it was from my work. I was not happy with Catboy, a.k.a. Stephen Jones. I'm not happy with how they're treating Zach Martin, how they're lowballing Trayvon Diggs. We have a whole laundry list of things we need to get done, and I feel like, Mike, Kelly, that's Stephen Jones's one job, is contracts. That's his main job. Why do we got to wait until the 11th hour to make these guys feel like crap, lowball them? Please tell me that there's nothing to worry about.
Well, the only thing I'd say is we're not there. Obviously, we're not there. Hey, you're listening to Des Bryant, who I love, but you're listening to some of these other guys. The thing I'd say with the Cowboys of what they do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they always seem to take care of their own. I think things work itself out. I don't know I mean, who have they really lost that we've really wanted to keep? I mean, Randy Gregory's like the only one that, some people are upset about, and how'd that work out? That worked out pretty good for us. So
yeah,
I'm not going to panic until I see him not there. Like Zach Martin, I think they'll restructure, they'll get it worked out. I think Diggs, everything will get taken care of. I think CD will get taken care of. So I'm not going to panic yet, unless I don't see him on the field, then I'll start worrying.
I like that. Kelly, what do you think, man? Are you
yeah,
pissed like I am?
Well, I think that's if there was a weakness in the Cowboys front office, I think it's Stephen Jones, because I feel like Stephen Jones now is kind of taking over the role that Jerry used to have, because Jerry was the guy that was kind of in charge of the contracts, it seems. Now Stephen's kind of taken over that, and he just kind of seems like one of those slick used car salesmen kicking the tires on this thing,
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's the best method to use when you're talking about guys like a Zach Martin, who, frankly, I mean, look, he's got a point. He's making a lot less than, I think, $7 million less than the guy that he's just as good as.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat where he's 30th amongst all like offensive linemen. Like just overall, he's the number 30th paid lineman.
He should at least be. He should at least be in the top 5. You don't have to set the market and make him the top paid. And I don't think that's what he's asking for. I think he just wants to be compensated a little bit more fairly. And as for, in Diggs and CD. We saw what happened with the Dak Prescott thing, where they drug their feet on that, and they ended up having to pay him a lot more because other guys set the market. So it's like when you got these guys right now, like, okay, let's say they don't sign him, and CD comes out and has an all-pro year. Diggs has another year where he comes out and he has another all-pro. Now these guys are coming in talking about, hey, look.
Now I'm not giving you nothing.
Right. You could have signed me. You could have got. So I think it's a little bit of bad business on Stephen Jones' part, that they're not a little bit more serious, a little bit more urgency in getting these deals
Maybe
done.
Be proactive. Why I understand that most people are, like the Cowboys do a lot of this at training camp. But obviously this is something that's been going on with Zach. There's no way Zach Martin would just go right to the media and say, I'm holding out. They've already had preliminary discussions. And the only thing we have to go off of is what happened last year. Right? Or, where was it last year where they lowballed DeMarcus Lawrence? He wanted to give D-Law a 1-year, $10 million deal. And D-Law basically had to call Jerry on the hotline, and Jerry had to intervene. And it's like, if you can't get the job done, that's not good. So that's all I'm worried about. It's like it's going in on a bad note.
Yeah, and then once they sign the contract, Cowboys Nation will turn on them real fast. Mm-hmm. On the players who's going to put up 1,500 yards. So it's one of those things, man. That's why I'm not into the money thing, man. I just, I try and stay my eye on the prize of who's there and is focused on the team. But because these guys, you saw what happened with Zeke. I mean, everyone turned on him, and his numbers went down, but. He signed a contract and they paid him and he gave it all. Maybe it wasn't worth it, and that's why he got cut. And you saw, it's a business, and unfortunately it happens. But so I try and stay out of the money, but I get it, man. Stephen Jones,
it's just frustrating, man.
It'd be better, but now I'm like, man, I don't know about Stephen.
And I'm in Eagleville, right? So they seem to be anybody that they want, they pretty much get. I mean, they made the Jalen Hurts thing look easy, and it's just very frustrating that we have to treat our stars, especially our young guys. CeeDee Lamb should be slotted. Whether, I'm not saying he should be the number 1 paid wide receiver, but we know the numbers. It's going to be 27 mil, 28 mil a year. That's what it is. You do it now, you could tack on a couple of years, in avoidable years, so you could stretch out that money. Look, like Kelly said, do it now. Why are we waiting until all the leverage, not to mention goodwill? This has been a year. I jumped on Mark Holmes. I kind of blamed him. I'm like, you've been jinxing us. You've been saying how quiet the offseason is for 3 weeks. Well, is it quiet now? No, it's fine, people. I'm not here to say that I'm panicking. It's just, we're better than this. Why can't Stephen Jones get it done? That's it. But I did need Mike to have a little sense of calmness, because that's not how I am. Like I'm almost like Kelly's video after a Cowboys loss. Sometimes you don't want to watch it right away because he's just going to lay into somebody, until he's able to think and calm down. I was like, all right, after thinking, it wasn't that bad, So You all right, Phil?
Yeah, no, I'm doing some stuff. I'm changing some things over on this side. So, yeah, as
Okay.
you guys are doing, I'm just changing some graphics. But no, when I think about the Zach Martin situation, it's just, I mean, next man up. It was the one guy that I didn't expect anything from this offseason. He's the one that I give a little bit more credit to when it comes to Steele and how he's been. So I was kind of thinking that Steele maybe wasn't as good because he was sitting right next to Zach Martin. But then I saw Tyron Smith in that same spot, and that wasn't the case. And so I was just like, all right, well, you know what? Steele's maybe doing better than I thought. And so Tyler Biotish, obviously, we want to see his second year. We want to see some consistency. And then, of course, I won't even start on the left side in that whole, when the music stops, you stop in the position. And so when I looked at Zach Martin, of course, obviously I was thinking, that's kind of like, when I think Zach Martin, I'm more thinking of how many more years does he have left. And so that's kind of my worry. So when I saw him come out here and do that, I wasn't surprised. I think this is his last deal. I mean, unless something happens dramatically, I mean, this is his last deal. So I totally understand where he's going. He's a big, important part of the offense, and it's just something that we really can't mess with. But I'm with you guys. I think I can't really trust Steven at all when it comes to negotiating. So I don't feel great about Diggs. I don't even feel great about CD, even though CD I feel like it's going to be the better of the two in the situation. But I don't feel great about the whole Diggs situation because I think, just like his brother, he's going to want money, and Steven's not going to want to pay it because obviously it comes out of his paycheck. So.
Yeah, I think the longer it goes on with Diggs, the harder it's going to get. But I think CD is going to be easy. I think they're going to bring him in. It just frustrated me. That's all. But I'm going to move on from the negativism. We're a week out from the start of training camp. My basic question for both is, what are you guys looking for in this preseason? Now, I just want, honestly, and I'm going to make my answer brief. What I'm looking forward to is not getting a major injury, because it seems like, and Mark's like, well, they have to practice, Mark, I love you, bro. I know they have to practice. I'm just saying, I don't want our guy to be the guy that it tears an ACL doing a non-contact on the side. It's a really luck. We just need to get through this healthy. But what are you looking for going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, without question, health is number one. But for me, if you're just looking at situational, I'd say running back. I want to see what we got. I know, I believe in Pollard, and I think he'll be fine. But I still want to see, is it Malik Davis? Is that who they're high on? You got Jones they picked up. You got obviously Vaughn. You got the fullback, that they picked up in free agency. I know no one wants to. I guess some people don't. Kelly's on my side, at least somebody is. I wouldn't mind us getting a veteran running backs at some insurance policy. I'm just not sold on Jones. Just somebody with maybe has some juice left. You're putting all your eggs, in the basket of some unproven guys outside Pollard. And I just think this is a win now team. I think the offense is there, the defense is there. We made the changes. Got Cooks, got Gilmore. Shored up some spots. So the running back is just the one area where you're playing 20 games if you want to get to the Super Bowl. I just wish we were a little more solidified there, but we could be, but it's just unknown.
Yeah, I got you, Kelly.
I'm along the same lines. So I mean, it's I want to see. I feel like they're pretty high on Malik Davis, so I want to see him getting reps with the ones. I'd like to see him. Obviously, Tony Pollard's still got that injury thing, so he doesn't really need to be out there. You got Malik Davis though. Getting him played with the ones, and then also I'd like to see, Dak Prescott didn't play any in the preseason last year. I think he needs to play in the preseason, especially installing a new offense. So I kind of want to see what it's going to look like with that new offense. They're probably not going to throw everything out there and tip their hand too much, but you want to see, is he going to be able to move the ball up and down the field with ease? So that's going to be, for me, something interesting to see is how he looks in preseason, how comfortable he looks in this new offense.
Yeah,
I agree, man.
Yeah, me going into the preseason, there's definitely, I want to see some people hit. I want to see Matt Walesko, see what happens with him. I wanted to see, they're talking the same thing as they did with Steele about Walesko, but we haven't seen any body of work to really kind of run behind that, that statement. But when they keep saying the same thing, you're like, they were saying the same thing about Steele, and look at the body of work that he's been able to do. So that makes me feel very good about Walesko. Now, there's guys like Josh Ball that I don't really hold any kind of thing on. on. But, you know, you got Simi Fehoko, Jalen Tolbert. How are they going to look? You know, do we have a kicker that can consistently kick? So there's a lot. I guess the questions that I don't really have is on the defense, other than who are we going to cut out of all those all-stars. So that's going to be mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mike brought up something. He brought up running backs. Now, this hasn't. Me and Phil have been talking, and chat. We will get to you guys in a minute. We'll run through the chat. I'm sure Phil's hitting this thing.
Yeah.
Now, it's tough when we have all this information that we're trying to get to. But Mike brought up the running backs, and I agree. What is your take on what's going on in the NFL regarding running backs? I mean, you see Saquon Barkley not happy being. Now, we can all debate. I mean, he's been injured, but still, running backs are getting lowballed. Dalvin Cook is on the market. He's a dynamic. I know he's injured, but he's dynamic. You got Zeke. You got Joe Mixon doing a restructure. He's making $6 million a year, or they were going to release him. And then you have the Raiders. Josh Jacobs might get the tag rescinded. So along the lines of what Mike Tagg brought up, why do you think? Do you think there's a little collusion going on between these owners to keep the running backs down or something? I think yes. I think it's obvious. But I mean, what's your take?
I don't know if collusion. It could be. I just think they're devalued. I mean, you know, we had Ian Beckles on our show, was an offensive lineman for the Eagles, which I loved that one. But
he was with the Birds.
He was.
Did he say anything bad about him?
Oh yeah,
Twiz. Because Twiz is in the chat. Go ahead. Let's elaborate on that.
That shit crazy and go back and
see that, anyway, Twiz?
It's he said the running backs. There's a couple, and the rest are a bunch of guys. And I just think the way offenses are, I think the way everything is, and you saw Pacheco. You hear all the names. You got Walker out in Seattle, 5th round pick. I just think the way these owners can see it is, all right, we'll draft a guy. You got him for 4 years. We'll franchise him, and then we'll go get another one. Like Pollard's probably not going to be back next year. So you saw the 1st round picks they took on running backs, and you think about it, it's like, why'd they do that? Well, now they got him for 4 years, pick up the 5th, franchise him for the 6th, and now they're done with him. So
exactly,
the running backs have no leverage. You look at Walker, Pacheco, they're never going to get to see the money. That's why you saw Pollard sign the tag, I think, so fast, is because that's the first real money he's ever seen.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly for him, but I think everything goes in cycles. It may come back.
I'm with you. I think it's a cycle thing. Yeah. Kelly, what's your opinion, man? Do you think these owners are holding these boys back, man?
I think it's just, the NFL is a business, and I think it's a business model. And I think that some of these other owners have taken notice of the contracts, like, it was Gurley and then Zeke were basically the last 2 big running back contracts that were handed out. And I think the other owners around the league saw that how it didn't work out well. It didn't work out well for, the Rams when they signed Gurley. It didn't work out well for the Cowboys with Zeke. Now, granted, Zeke was still productive, but that productivity dropped every single year. And you just, at the end of it, it's like, okay, we're not getting what we're paying this guy. So why are you going to pay $20 million a year if you can go out and grab yourself a rookie draft pick? They can come in and basically fill the void of what you had been paying top dollar at these positions for. So I think it's just a business model for these NFL owners. They're looking around and they take notice. They're smart, they're businessmen. So they're saying, hey, why are we going to spend this kind of money when you look through it? A lot of these past teams that have made it to the Super Bowl, none of them have made it to the Super Bowl with the top 5 running back. It's not what you need. You don't need that.
Yeah.
You still need competent running backs, and you still need to be able to run the football. But I mean, it's a quarterback and wide receiver driven league right now, playing in simple as the way that it is.
I'm worried about, really, and Mike touched on it a little bit, is okay. Like the one thing that I love Zeke for, when the ball was at the 1 yard line, Zeke was getting his ass in the end zone. He was getting in, and who's that guy that we have on the team? That's got to play out. The chat, Twiz is already firing back, Mike. How we playing that 4D chess? Well, we call him Ski Mask Howie. He's basically saying that the Eagles are always right. Mike, it could have been let's fly. Listen, man, he ain't the first player You know, like CJ Gardner Johnson isn't the first player to leave Philly and you talk junk about the fans. That seems to be the prevailing thought. Now, I think it's because he didn't get a contract, but whatever.
Well, the only thing I'll tell the Eagle fans is this man right here you're looking at has never walked out of the stadium disappointed. 5-0 since
Really?
the Eagles, and I'm going back into the Texas Stadium. We own the Eagles. They own the Eagles when I'm there, so I'm going to be there in Dallas at AT&T. So you guys might as well chalk that up as a loss to save your time.
Yeah, that would be great. Man. That would be great.
Let me jump on this running back thing. When I was thinking about the running backs, like when you think about Super Bowl, I think Kelly K-9, he definitely hits it on the head. Look at the Super Bowl contenders last year. I mean, you got a guy that was Pacheco that was really what, a 6th, 7th round pick. So I agree in a lot of sense. When I play Madden, my running backs get no run at all. So I don't. I'm with the GMs. I don't use the running. I'm like, running backs. What is that? You can hold my water bottle or something like that. But no, when I look at Zeke and what he was able to do at the end, I mean, one thing that Tony does not do is block and protect the quarterback. Hey, what Zeke was doing though, I could put a lineman back there and have him blocking and running 2 yards. So I mean. I don't. Yeah, Hunter. Yeah. So I'm not gonna miss that whole paying the running back your whole arm and a leg. I mean, we're already doing that with our quarterback, but our quarterback doesn't run as much. So I don't really want him to. I like that he runs to try to throw it down the field. But when I'm also with Mike. I don't rely on the whole Robert Jones thing and that's kind of why I want to see some training camp, because if he starts all of a sudden hitting holes and going through stuff and you're like, okay, well, you know what? He's been to 2 Super Bowls, still has a fresh legs. Maybe he can bring something to this team. But I'm with you. I definitely would rather get somebody like a Dalvin Cook. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's humbled now and not expecting a whole lot of money unless he's going to do like what GameTime says and just hold out until there's an injury, and then he's going to get more money. So, I mean, I think that's what the running back market is.
Why would he sign somewhere?
It's basically like the ER, just like it's going to be expensive as hell if you have to go to the ER, but we need it. I mean, you need it. So, and that's kind of what the running back is going to be. It's just like, well, we need him really badly for the playoffs, and that's the only time they're going to get paid. So,
listen, man,
if you're the Cowboys, I was going to say when it comes to a running back, if for some reason you want to get a running back, you just go out there and you tell Dalvin Cook, hey, look, Kareem said he's coming in for 3. We'll give you 3.5 if you want. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you 3.5.
I would love to
get him in the same room. Just get him in the same room.
There's all these running backs out there. If you're Jerry Jones, you just you walk him right by Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt's sitting in another office, and you just let him see that.
I like that.
Take it or leave it.
I like that.
Yeah, that's nice. I like it.
All right, let's get to the chat. Elena Walker, she sees 5-1 coming. I've been telling, because we got Elena, we got Twiz, we got Philly or Filthy,
enormous, yeah,
enormous. We have a bunch of Eagles fans, and they they see 5-1. I made a comment that you better be 5-1 based on your schedule. If you're 500 after 6, you in a world of trouble. So we shall see. The Twiz. I see Ultra Cowboys in the house. He's always on Tag's channel. What's up, Ultra? Angelica Barone. Angelica loves going over to Mike's and Kelly's channel to see all the ex-Cowboys. That's what she's always doing. Mike Aldana. What's up, my man? Listen, I came across a cool wait, hold up. Cook is getting suspended. Ultra Cowboy, what do you know about Dalvin Cook?
Well, he's
there's
trouble.
There's a domestic violence thing hanging out where his it's been out there though since like 2021. It's just now coming. I guess he tried to pay her some money to just kind of drop it, one of those hush deals or whatever. But he's suing her for defamation. She's coming after him. He hasn't been charged with anything, so it's one of those deals. I don't know that there's going to be any suspension coming. It's been out there since 2021, so it's a couple years.
Well, if he signs over the Cowboys, you can almost guarantee it. So let's fucking.
That's a 6-game suspension immediately, just right off the.
As soon as he signs it, ding, gets an alert on his phone. You're suspended. Golly.
Yep. Welcome to
You-
Dallas.
Exactly.
You guys are going to the Jet at Cowboy game, right? Tag and Kelly, you guys are going to be at that game, right?
We're going to be there. That'll be our first annual Cowboys Cape tailgate party. So it's going to be hot. So any Cowboys
I would love
fans
to get
that are
there,
going,
man.
check it
I
out.
would love to get there, but
Gotta get down there.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, man. I was near the stadium last June.
I touched
when we
it.
went
I
out to
touched it.
Yeah, I was at the Star. Hey, listen. I got a VIP tour, me and Mark, by a Dak's uncle Philip. So that was special, but I hadn't seen a game at the new stadium yet. I mean, I've been at the old stadium a few times, but I definitely got to get there. Try to get there this year. We shall see. But I bring up the Jets because I was reading it and I found a couple stats. I want your take on it. The Jets last year allowed the fourth fewest points per game last year. The last time Aaron Rodgers had a top 8 scoring defense was in 2010, which coincides with his Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy. Are you guys believing the hype with Aaron Rodgers or what? Please tell me that we're going to smoke his ass week 2. Please.
Well, I mean, I just say, like, for me, it comes down to when you play him. I'm happy we're playing him on the second game. I think, Aaron Rodgers still got some stuff left. I think the Jets defense they're a good young team. They've got some offensive weapons. So it's not going to be it's not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch, but I think we get them early. I think
you're going to be in the building, so that's a plus.
Team. Yeah. They ain't going to lose with Kelly and I there. Guarantee that thing.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think that the fact that he's going into a new team, he's got a lot of new playmakers that he's going to have to get on the same page with. So, I do think Aaron Rodgers is still a dangerous quarterback. He's definitely got some talent, but we have the ace up our sleeve because we are going to have the most dominant defense in the NFL, in the Dallas Cowboys defense, Doomsday 2.0, Lockdown City, whatever you want to call them. That defense is going to be there.
No fly zone.
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers is going to have to deal with those guys. And he's going to have to deal with a Michael Parsons that's putting his hand down in the dirt and just pinning his ears back, rushing the passer. So, I mean, I know Aaron's getting a little bit up there in age. He may want to come down with the flu in week 2 because number 11's coming for him.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you guys are frustrated. We're all Cowboys fans. We not frustrated. Up 23 points last year at Lambeau Field. You got Mike McCarthy doing the Irish jig on the sideline. It was almost handshakes at halftime. Yet we decided, and everybody is coming down on people that are criticizing Kellen Moore. If you're not smart enough to understand that he wasn't good with adjustments, nobody's saying he wasn't a good play caller. But as far as adjustments or in the playoffs where you got to think on your feet, why the heck that we weren't running the ball more in the second half? He just kept throwing the ball, pick six. Shit happens in this league. If you give it like a defense enough chances, they're going to get you. We had them last year, up 23. That's why I said with Brian Schottenheimer, I'm excited. I'm excited with Dak. With this defense, man. People forget Dak missed 5 games last year. I mean, I'm just tired. Are you guys tired of hearing the comparison between Jalen Hurts and Dak? Dak's been doing it year in and year out.
Well, the comparisons, and Kelly knows this, right, Kelly? I mean, it's the Eagles comparing to the Cowboys. I've never once. I'm not comparing him to. He's not the level that I want to be. I want my quarterback to be at Mahomes' level. Mm-hmm. They want all their players to be at Dallas's level. We're above that. They're their little brother, so that's what they always want. So I don't even pay it no minds. And and to your point on Kellen Moore, that's why he's gone. He should have been gone long before. I've said it when McCarthy got hired. He should have been gone, and I think that was a big mistake that Jerry Jones made. You bring in McCarthy, you let him do things the way he needs to do and he wants to do, and you'll never convince me that he wanted Kellen Moore there. So. I'm glad to see him gone. I think we're going to be fine. I think this offense is going to be there. And to your point, I mean, we need to step on their throats. That was embarrassing, that Lambeau game. You're bringing back bad memories.
Yeah, I know. And, I'm just got to touch on it. The season hadn't started yet.
Well, I think when I look at Aaron Rodgers, I just deja vu. That's all I see. Deja vu. Is it Brett
I
Favre
wanna pound his
2.0?
ass
Like, is he going to
at Texas
retire
Stadium.
here in 2 years and then not retire and then go to the Vikings and then it all looks the exact same and so it's kind of crazy how this is all kind of played out. Aaron still got stuff. I mean, I told my girl when she was first starting into football, we were playing Aaron Rodgers, 2-touchdown lead and everything. She's like, "Oh, this is it." I'm like, nope. Not as long as number 12 is running around and everything. No. I don't believe in that whole thing. And so one thing that I was harping all offseason right off the bat was that Kellen Moore is just not great in situational football. He can get the game plan and he'll throw his, of course, screens in there that don't make any sense. But when you look at the bigger picture with him, fourth down, we need to get this. There's been a certain corner that keeps biting on this certain fake. Yeah, he has that mentality, but he's not whipping it out on that fourth down play. It's just that's why I like Schottenheimer. That's why I like McCarthy, because it's situational football. Let's get some slants going. Let's quit with that whole read, that option with the wide receiver. You saw half of those picks this year was because of that whole option thing. So I really want to see some stuff. And you cannot tell me, I'm with K-9 saying that we need to see some preseason stuff, because with the new offense, even in the huddle, between Kellen Moore and what Dak were saying, they probably were talking crap to each other. "Oh, that ain't going to work, you stupid." Just things you're not going to be able to say to your boss now. It's not going to be the same dialogue that you're going out there with, So there's got to be things that are going to be different. And so when teams like, for example, I'm going to say it, the Eagles, they come in, they got two different coordinators. They're saying, "Oh, it's going to be the exact same thing." What?
Yeah,
wash,
they're
rinse, repeat.
overlooking that.
And so that's a big thing. It may not be that way in the long run, but in a fourth down situation, I didn't understand what you meant by that play. There's going to be miscommunication. So you better expect to see some growing pains, and I'd rather see those growing pains in the preseason and not against Aaron Rodgers, for example.
Yeah, I agree.
And as far as Dak and the Dak and Hurts thing go, I just think they're, for whatever reason, man, that, like Mike said, Eagles fans just always seem to link Cowboys players to Eagles players, whether it's them trying to say, Reddick better than Parsons, which that's the biggest laughable thing ever. I mean, look, you can have a good player. Reddick's a good player, but he's not fucking Micah Parsons. Parsons is a generational guy. There's no Micah Parsons in the league. And then it's Darius Slay and Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb and Devontae or AJ Brown, whatever, whoever they want to. It's like they always want to compare their players to ours, and I just think it's funny. It just seems like that little brother tagging on Superman's cape, and I get it. They'll talk about they've had more success recently, and you know what? They have. They've won a Super Bowl. They went back to a Super Bowl. I mean, they're still 1-3 in a Super Bowl, and 5 Super Bowls is still greater than 1. I'll just say that. But it's time for the talk to be over with. And it's time to put, cleats on the turf and see who the better team is. And, and like Mike said, my aspirations is for Dak to be compared to a guy like Mahomes or,
Exactly.
maybe even they compare him to Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen's kind of an interception machine.
Yeah, he's exactly.
He gets a pass on that, but I won't really.
Yeah, I'll be nice on Josh tonight.
Yeah,
but
I want to measure my guys against the best of the best, not going to look at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Everything was aligned for them last year in the Super Bowl, and we have a bunch of Eagles fans, and I just want to quickly get to a few of them. Alana Walker says, "No, we don't want to be Dallas, hating much. Let's get Dak to the championship game first." So that's the prevailing thought. Now it's almost like role reversal, back in the 90s. And listen, I'm not going back saying anything about the 90s. I'm just making a reference. It seemed like your Super Bowl was beating Dallas once or twice a year. If you could beat us, I was at the game where, Barry Switzer, I was telling Mike Tag, Barry Switzer, we ran the ball with them at 4 times in the line on 4th down. This was the 94-95 season. That was their Super Bowl. Eagles won the game. You had Merrill Reese. They stopped them again. The whole stadium was going nuts. I'm getting, shit thrown at me. It was beautiful, right? But you know who won the Super Bowl that year? The Dallas Cowboys went on to win the Super Bowl. Now it's like role reversal. Now it's, you guys can win as much as you want, but you haven't won a Super Bowl. And they're right. It's BS, but we got to win it. But I did find an interesting stat. This is for all you Eagles fans out there. The last 17 QBs to lose their Super Bowl debut have failed to get back to the Super Bowl the following year. So, everything is against you this year, Eagles. So if you do go on, run the table, in my opinion, and get to the Super Bowl and win it, just getting there would be pretty impressive. But you got to win it.
Yeah.
You got to win it, right? That would be impressive. But I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I want to know where's the cutoff. All right, so they won a Super Bowl, and it's great. And it's funny that they never talked about Dallas not getting to the Super Bowl all those years until they finally won one.
Right,
Now it matters.
right.
All those other times it didn't matter. 20 years we didn't win a Super Bowl. You never heard it until they finally won one. They never brought it up. So, you wonder where does that end? Does it stop? How many more years can they say we went to the Super Bowl and you guys didn't? I don't know what time period you have on that before there's dust on it, like they say. And I can't argue it. They went to the Super Bowl. Congratulations. Yes. They won a Super Bowl. They beat the Patriots. That was probably one of the most gut-wrenching games for me because I had to root for the Patriots when I can't stand the Patriots. Mm-hmm. So that was the worst Super Bowl scenario for me, and they won.
Yeah, that was tough.
It's just that thing. And Dallas, they've been successful. They've been successful in the regular season, and they haven't gotten it done in the playoffs. And for whatever reason, man, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a Jimmy Johnson curse. I don't know if it's just bad things happen to the Cowboys in the worst possible way. It's gut-wrenching. It's heartbreaking, and they've got to get over that hump. It's almost – I don't want to be a boomer, too much of a boomer, but if you go way, way back to the Cowboys – they went through it, with Bob Lilly, and they were always the next year's champions, and they always lose and lose and lose, and they never can get over the hump, and then they finally did. But it's just something's got to give for the Cowboys, and it's set up this year, man. The way the NFC is, they got to get it done. No excuses, no nothing. Barring some crazy injury, no excuses. They got to get it done. They got the roster to do it.
Unfortunately, the device that's keeping you alive is also killing you.
Exactly. and that's how it is, man. I bleed it, but at the same time it shortens my lifespan every season. I'm just like, that Buffalo, I'll always remember the Buffalo game on a Monday night where we somehow came back from behind after throwing all these interceptions at the end, and it was in the last 2 minutes. It was just it was just this crazy thing, and I remember just a roller coaster of emotions. And I think that's when I first I was like, okay, these guys are definitely going to either be a very good thing for my life or definitely shorten it. And so going into the season, there's a lot of stuff with this team that got a lot of hopes about. I'm with you guys in the sense of the coaching staff. I wanted to see this transition a lot sooner because I got to see the whole, I'm thinking about the defensive coordinator that was before Dan Quinn, Nolan Smith? Mike Nolan, there it is. And so I'm like, okay, he gets this, more of, with Jerry's whole thing. And then when he's able to bring the guy that he wants, you see this defense just get turned around. All of a sudden, we're not talking safeties anymore. I mean, how many, like a decade where we were talking about safeties and how we need to draft a safety, and Earl Campbell or Earl Thomas wants to come over here, and this other guy wants to come in from the we're jumping on everything. And so the defense is not the question. The offense to me is a lot more. What's going to happen? There's too many questions. The offensive line, the running back situation. The only thing I feel good about is Dak, tight ends, and wide receivers. And how are you guys looking at the offense? Can the offense match the defense going into this season? Kelly, let's start with you. What do you think about the offense matching on the defense?
Well, I think that that would be nice in theory. I don't think they'll have to, just because I think this defense is going to be so dominant that I think that will create the opportunities for the offense. Because I had heard somebody talk about this not that long ago, and they talked about last year and even the year before. They talked about since Dan Quinn came along, they said, a lot of people talk about Kellen Moore's got this high-powered, scoring a bunch of points per game. They said, but if you look at the defense and the opportunities they gave him by creating short fields, turnovers, that contributes to a lot of those points that the offense was scoring. Because here's the thing: if your defense gets you the ball back, especially on your side of the field, it creates those scoring opportunities and chances to score more. So I look at this defense and I look at the secondary. I look at the safeties. I mean, we've got some ball hawks back there. And so I think they're going to create turnovers again. I think they're going to have a lot of turnovers created, and I think that's going to create for scoring opportunities. So I don't think that, the Cowboys offense necessarily will have to match the defense, but I expect good things from them. I think the offense will be better this year than last year because I think Cooks does take some of that pressure off Dak. He's a guy that can take the top off of defense. He can go, he can get down there and get behind the coverage. He's a speed guy, and I think Dak's going to have a lot of fun with that because he can put a ball and drop it right where it needs to be. People sit there and want to talk about the interceptions, but ignore the accuracy. I mean, let's the 3rd and 30 to T.Y. Hilton. He put that where only Hilton could get that. The pass in that Vikings game to Tony Pollard down the sideline, that little wheel route. He put that where only Pollard could get it. Dak is pretty damn good when it comes to throwing the deep ball. So I think this offense is going to be pretty good. And I think they'll be better than last year. And combine that with the turnovers on this defense, I think it just makes for this team to be a really dangerous team.
Nice. Now, Mike, what do you think about the offense going in?
Yeah, no, I couldn't say it any better than my man Kelly K-9.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
We're a defensive team.
That was good.
Think we shifted to the defense, but I think this offense, maybe they're not going to be the top 2 offense in the league, but I think they're going to be efficient. I think they're, I hate to use the word game manager, don't screw it up kind of thing, but I think with the offense, what they're going to allow them to do is the receivers are going to get in space. We're going to be control the ball, and I think the offense is going to be fine. The question is the offensive line. You talked about it. God forbid, it's not if, but when Tyron goes down, how's that all going to shuffle out? Any other guys? Steele's coming back from an injury. Is he going to be okay? Can he return to form? That's the question mark. Really, the only thing I'm really, really concerned about with the offense is that line throughout the season. How
about you, Game Time? What do you think about the offense?
Well, I think the offense is going to be fine, but I think we're going to go through a little bit of growing pains early, and that's the only thing. Don't panic. The Eagles could get out on us by a game or 2 early. I hope not. I'm going to be at MetLife opening night. Sunday night.
Well, let's ask you about that. You're going to be there with the Giants. You said that the Cowboys you think will have a problem with the Giants.
Be better.
And
shout out to the Giants.
Of course, Barkley to the side, but go ahead, say it.
James Robinson. They just picked up James Robinson. They just picked up Cole Beasley. Now they're not unbelievable, but they are a very solid team. Now, I still think we own them, and I think we'll beat them opening night, but I think they're going to be good. They're not going to be as good as us. I think they're going to be behind us, but I think they're going to be pushing everybody. That's just my opinion. But I did see with Tom Brady's retirement, with Aaron Rodgers' trade to the Jets, you have Derek Carr going to the Saints. Do you know Dak Prescott is the longest tenured starting QB in the NFL? It's crazy. I didn't even know this stat. This is the first time since 1966, the Super Bowl era, that no QB has an active stretch more than 9 seasons, because we're going into, I think Dak's played 8 years. Or this is his 8th year, one of the 2. But do you believe it just seems like that the time has flown since Dak has been the starter, and Tony got hurt, and Dak came in, and I think he rattled off like 10 or 11 wins as a rookie. I just can't believe it, man. Mike just said it. It's a weaker NFC. Everybody's anointing Detroit. We know the Eagles are good. Eagles, everybody in the chat, I've told you guys time and time again, you are a very, very good team. I'm not taking nothing away from you. But we won 12 games last year with a first-place schedule. So let's see what you do this year. Now, what's your thought about that? I mean, do you guys believe that Dak is the longest tenured quarterback in the NFL? That's crazy.
Well, it is, and it just it shows that this, it's getting younger and younger, in the league, and you got these young group of quarterbacks coming in. You got another group that's going to be coming in after this year, with the kid from USC. You got the kid from North Carolina, I believe, and elsewhere. It's time is the essence for Dak to get this thing done. So, but it is surprising that he's the longest guy in the NFC for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but that just lets you know how how quick the seasons go by. You know what I mean? 1 minute guy's a rookie, next minute he's the longest tenured vet in the NFC. So, but I think that I look at Dak's career, and people will sit there and talk about that's the thing now they harp on him about is has never gotten his team to a championship, an NFC championship game. Well, and I get that. He hasn't done that yet. But here's the thing. Quarterbacks' careers don't end at the end of 7 years. I mean, and there's plenty of quarterbacks who won later in their career. And a lot of things have to happen.
Jim Plunkett.
A lot of things have to happen to win a Super Bowl. It's some of these younger quarterbacks that have come in and just immediately gotten to that has gotten people in that mindset. That's not the norm. It's not normal for these QBs to come in and just year 2, year 3 be in the NFC or AFC championship game. It takes some time. It takes a little bit of luck, and it takes a complete team around you. And I think that in terms of a complete team, this is the most complete team that Dak Prescott's had in his entire career. And I think we're gonna see some things, and I think the narrative's about to change around him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Go ahead.
I'm excited about him going to this new offense.
Yeah.
I really am, man. Now, don't get me wrong. They're not going to – I keep telling people they're not going to just replace everything. They're going to keep a good part of the playbook. It's not like they're going to a totally new offense. They're going to get rid of the crap that didn't work, a lot of those comeback routes, that all the defenders were jumping at the end of games. We just kept running them over and over. Very frustrating. But I saw a stat, one more good stat that I did see. And we all are on. It seems like we're all on the same page. That Patrick Mahomes is just different. He's just different. He's been even banged up in the Super Bowl because he was badly hurt and he played in the Super Bowl. He's just don't compare yourself to Mahomes because he's on a level by himself. But I did see a stat with Patty Mahomes. He's one of 5 QBs with multiple MVPs / Super Bowls. It's Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady and himself. Now, that's an awesome stat, and Jalen Hurts and Eagles fans, just suck it up. You lost to a great one last year. Sorry, you should have won the game, but you lost to Patty Mahomes. There's no shame in that, right? But this stat here is what friggin' amazed me, and it excited me for us going forward with that. With Dak running the West Coast. Last year, Mahomes threw 48 touchdown passes. That's including the playoffs. Only one of those passes were caught beyond 20 yards. Now, that is friggin' impressive. Only one touchdown out of 48 was caught after 20 yards.
Well, I mean,
so what does that tell you?
I think the losing Tyreek Hill kind of does that to you. They had to kind of just
no, but I mean,
adjust.
He threw 48.
Yeah,
Still,
how many did he throw the year before?
It's the offense that they run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, the offensive line is stacked. That tight end, you automatically think of one of the tight ends. I mean, they've done a really good job of replacing receivers in there. When they lose one, they kind of replace them with somebody that's not, of course, DeAndre Hopkins, everybody trying to get him. They replace him with somebody that's more steady and, just somebody that's kind of come through in the clutch and everything. So they've been a really good job of doing that. And so you got to give them credit for that. I mean, the personnel and, of course, what you're saying.
I just looking forward to Dak, man, getting the ball out quick, to these guys. That's where I was going with it.
No, I think he's going to get it out, and I think you get it the guys in space. And I mean, CD is probably there's not too many better I've seen that with the ball in his hands, yards after catch. So I think you let those guys, the tight ends that we got, you just let these guys, make the plays. And I think that's what the West Coast or Texas Coast or whatever they want to call it is going to allow.
Yeah, well, Ultra Cowboy says it's Andy Reid's system. But that's what I'm getting to, guys. And girls. I'm getting to, we're going to go to quick hitting. It seemed like the Eagles receivers were always open last year. I don't know. Did it not? Yeah. It seemed like every time they caught a ball, there was nobody within 5 yards of them. That's scheme, right? Right, Kelly?
Yeah. No, I did see that a lot. There wasn't a lot of contested throws that had to be made in that offense, which, credit to their offensive coordinator for, for scheming that up and getting, putting their guys in the right plays. Whereas every play last year that it seemed that Dak threw, it seemed like somebody was draped all over the receiver. Because there wasn't a lot of passes last year caught by anybody that it was like they were wide open.
Yeah.
You don't recall seeing that last year. And I think part of it is, a lot of the receivers not creating separation. And I think part of it you can blame on the scheme, putting them in didn't put them in areas to succeed. So that's where your offensive coordinator comes in. He looks at, hey, these are these guys' strengths. This is what we need to do to get these guys the ball. So you create space by the plays that you call, and by obviously talent will play into that. But I think we've got all the talent on this wide receiver core, tight end, with the running backs. Deuce Vaughn is a guy that can really catch the ball coming out of the backfield, man. I don't know if anybody's seen that guy play at Kansas State. I did. I'm a Big 12 guy, dude. That guy is
nobody can hit him
and wide receiver. He makes insane catches.
He's not a guy you want to get between the tackles, but I know they were saying in OTAs, they were saying when they would get the ball, he's going to be in on a lot of third downs. When they get the ball in his hands, the linebackers, once he puts his feet in the ground, the linebackers are done. They cannot. Yeah. It's not that he's blazing fast, because he's quick, not fast. He's just so low to the ground, and behind this offensive line, I think it's a marriage made in heaven. It's just my opinion, but I agree with you, man. I think that's huge. It really is. Looking very forward to this new offense. Dak getting the ball out quick, maybe running some up tempo. But what's the one thing? I think he's literally number one in the league since he's been in the league. What Dak thrives on is play action, right? So with Brian Schottenheimer coming in, and we're going to run the ball, but that's going to be the main difference in the offense. Yeah, we're going to put some quick hitters in there, but it's going to be the West Coast running game. And I'm curious to see that. I don't know. Mike, I guess Pollard, I'm hearing he's 100%. He's going to have to be the guy, at least on first and second down, to get that done. I'm excited. I'm ready to roll.
No, you get me going, man. Pollard, I have no worries about Pollard. It's just, again, the 20 games that these guys are playing. You definitely you got to have a 1-2 punch in the NFL, even a 1-2-3 punch probably. Mm-hmm. And I think Vaughn, to what Kelly's saying, Deuce Vaughn. I saw him I was at the championship game at AT&T, because they were playing that the day before Cowboys game, and he tore it up. That was the first chance I got to see him live, and he's the real deal. Darren Sproles is the name that you always, you kind of tie with him. Went to K-State and was about the same size. So I think he's going to be a game breaker. But no, I'm excited, man. I'm just ready to get this thing rolling. I just can't believe that you said the Giants are going to be really good. But what do you think the record?
Listen, I think, all right. I did a schedule prediction. This was a few weeks ago. I'm probably going to do it again after preseason. I got us finishing with 11. I got the Eagles finishing with 11. Now, this is taken everything into consideration. I think we're going to win the division. I think that we could win 12. But I went conservative. I got the Giants winning 10, and I got Washington, whatever their name is going to be, winning 7. Just if you look at their schedule, I think there's a potential for the Giants to be on our heels all season. In saying that, I think they're going to finish behind us. I just think they're more of an up-and-coming team. If you look on the offense and defense, they've gotten better in a lot of spots, and I love their coach. I think that coaching is huge in this league. So, which leads me into, you Eagle fans, you got Nick Sirianni, okay? Now you have Brian Johnson, not Shane Steichen, calling plays. He's the quarterback's coach. Funny enough, Brian Johnson actually played for Jalen Hurts' father in high school, as weird as that sounds. So Jalen and Brian Johnson have a relationship, and that's all well and good. But when you do as well as you did last year, you lose both your coordinators, your head coach, who's an offensive guy, wants no part of calling plays. I don't know, man. It's going to be fun, because when it starts to crumble in Philly, all this stuff, I'm keeping receipts, people. I'm keeping all the receipts of everybody talking their shit about how bad we're going to do. Dak sucks. Just Yeah, just wait. And I'm already on record. If you guys go on to win a Super Bowl, I will kneel before Zod. But I just
Son of Jarrell.
yeah, exactly. I just think that we're gonna be good, man. Phil, I haven't heard from you, Phil. Come on, get into this. Like, what do you got?
What do I think about the Giants? I don't give them. Let's talk about like Angelica wants to talk about the Commanders, Commodes or whatever. I don't even know what they're going to be called next year, right?
I don't know.
All last year I was making fun of the fact that they had an identity crisis.
They're the Redskins. They'll always be the Redskins. So I don't care.
And a lot of their fans, that's how they look at it as well too. So when I look at this division, I mean, they're getting better. Those two teams that were on the bottom, of course, you talk about it like last year. All four of these teams would have been in the playoffs if Washington hadn't done that, weird cousin that gets benefits, thing going on. And so when you think about Washington, I mean, they got to figure out what they're doing. I mean, people want to give Sam Howell a little bit more credit than what he deserves. I thought he did well. Once, Bryan says this, and I agree. Once the NFL gets film on you, you give defensive coordinators the ability to see what habits you have and to kind of try to counter that. So I definitely see a drop in him unless somehow he's putting in work this offseason that we're not seeing. And, of course, I'm not looking up, Sam Howell workout videos.
That's where I think we got an advantage, though, Phil. We're coming in with a new offense. Like Kelly said, we got Deuce Vaughn. All right, we got Tony Pollard,
which helps.
Guy.
When Tony Pollard went out last year, what happened to this offense? Deuce Vaughn takes that spot. So I agree with you guys. Definitely, I love that.
And I think we're gonna use Malik Davis more to spell. I think Malik's gonna be your main spell. I don't know. Like, we have to let the preseason play out. But if I'm sitting here today, I think he beats out Ronald Jones, and I think Malik's on the team. But who knows? Yeah. But. You brought up NFL film, and I do like to bring that up only because I don't believe that the NFL is going to allow Jalen Hurts to run up the middle. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. They were so worried about the outside that they just left the middle. Even after watching the game tape from the previous week, they were just letting the middle wide, and Jalen was, to his credit, I have to give him credit. He took it and ran, and man, I've never seen so many long runs by a quarterback. But I don't think that's going to be there this year.
I watched Michael Vick, so I've seen longer runs.
But you know what I mean? He seemed like he scored what, like 13 rushing touchdowns.
No, you got to give him credit. I mean, when you look at the red zone, I mean, he had the most rushing touchdowns attempts. Well, he also had the worst passing percentage for touchdowns as well. So, they want to give him all this credit, and you guys brought it up. I mean, when you saw a lot of those guys catching passes, yeah, every blind squirrel can find a nut. So of course he's going to throw it downfield, and eventually those guys are going to be able to catch it, and it's going to look nice. But a lot of the times, he just had to throw it to an area and allow those guys to do it. So I'm not going to take away from it. Again, it's the offensive game plan and everything as well, and they game plan to what he does best. And so I have to give them that credit. But I'm not, the fact that it's just 1 year, and he's just automatically. They're just, appointing him. He's everything.
Anointed. He got his contract. He's locked in. Now, not only do you have to win, you got to put up the numbers. You have to do it all.
But you know me, game time. I was rooting for Jalen to ball and to get that contract because guess what? I don't care. Like, they know that we have a record against them, and they can talk about playoffs and all that stuff. Well, guess what? We haven't faced each other in the playoffs. So guess what? When we do, I don't fear you. Okay. You can beat his stuff. Anybody can beat anybody, man. And so that doesn't
put it this way. I'd much rather play the Eagles than the 49ers.
Yeah, we haven't. That's been our little Achilles heel right there, And we've been taking this team, and like I said this in another video, but we're taking this team and building it to beat the 49ers. But the 49ers haven't even made it to the Super Bowl. So what are we building? So that's what gets me about that. It's just
and we'll circle back because I was talking about getting film, and you brought up Sam Howell. Yeah. Mike and Kelly, I'm with the opinion that the NFL is going to be prepared this time for Sam Howell. The Cowboys weren't all in on that last game. You know that.
Yeah.
So, are you sold on Sam Howell, guys? Are you? I mean, I'm curious, with your opinion.
No, I mean, I watch him play in college, but I don't think we have anything.
Just because he beat the Cowboys, he's not going to Canton.
No, I mean that game was. I mean, anyone who watched that game knows it was just a weird. The whole vibe was weird there. So I mean, I don't think so. And I also think the Giants will win 7 games. I'll let Kelly talk to the Eagles fans and let them know how many games they're going to win. But I just don't think the Giants are that good. I hear you. I don't see it. But that's
Well, listen, Mike, we need them to beat the Eagles, though. That's the thing.
I don't think they'll beat the Eagles. They never do.
Hey, that sucks. That sucks. All right, go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah. Sam Howell, I'd be more concerned about Sammy Davis, to be honest with you. I'm not.
I was just going to do an impression, but it was going to be it wasn't going to be Sammy Davis. It was going to be Bill Cosby. So I was just getting ready to do it. I'm like, whoa, that's not
it.
right.
That's your automatic go-to. I see.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not really nervous about him. I know that the Commanders, that's their thing. They're like, hey, we beat you last year with him, which that's true. They did. They also beat the Eagles with Heineke, but that doesn't mean either one of those guys are legit quarterbacks. So, yeah, not really nervous about the Commanders at all. I think they'll finish last. I think the Giants will finish third. I think the Eagles will finish second. I got the Eagles at 9-8. And I got the Giants winning 7 games, and I got the Commanders winning 6.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. I mean, I don't know. I think the Giants are going to carry over a little bit of momentum, but I think that the whole Saquon thing might derail
a little bit.
If he holds out, and he decides that if he sticks to his guns and he decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to take one for all the running backs and send a message here. If that's what he's trying to do, and he doesn't play at all this year, I mean, it's going to be tough for them to win. They might end up finishing last because they need.
That's the one guy that would do anything against us.
What was that Pittsburgh running back? Bell? That he tried to do that. Le'Veon Bell. Like, he tried to do that, and it just backfired like crazy.
Yeah, that's never good to sit out, especially as a running back, because you know what.
Yeah, I think in the end, Saquon, I think he comes in.
Yeah,
I think he reports the camp, but I think he may miss a couple of weeks.
I would agree too.
The first couple of weeks,
I'd agree.
And
I like how it's setting up, Kelly, because you remember back in the day when Emmett held out for the first 2 and they lost on Monday night, and Mike could help me out. I don't know who we lost to, but I know it's a Monday night game.
Well, I know we lost to the Redskins and the Bills, I think.
It was like the sky is falling, right? And then they had and then Jerry said, we're fucking signing this guy, and now, and it worked out. I could see that happening this year, where I'm saying the Giants are going to be better, but I'm also saying Dallas is going to beat them opening night. They get the doors knocked off them on opening night, and then maybe they lose the next game, and all of a sudden it's the same type of thing. Because the difference is, he didn't sign his tender. So I was having a back and forth with Mark last night, and the rule is if you don't sign your franchise tender, you could still sign a long-term deal up and until week 10 of the NFL season. So he's still allowed to sign a long-term deal, which goes back to my Emmitt Smith. He's sitting out the first 2. So that is a possibility, and it seems like the Giants are going in that direction by signing a James Robinson.
Well, is that an FU to Saquon? I mean, you're signing James.
Exactly,
Robinson,
that has to be right.
Yeah, it's like they're digging their heels in too, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays.
Hey, I'm fine that we're playing in week 1. I like it. I mean, I'm on record saying I wish he was there. I want to beat him. I want to beat everybody at 100%, but nobody gives a crap. Everybody wanted to beat our ass last year when Dak was out, right? Nobody felt sorry for us, so.
Not even the Eagles head coach. He was walking back to the locker room. How about them Eagles?
Yeah. Like an ass.
I always have to bring that up. The Eagles fans, you guys are celebrating because you beat us with our backup. Your fucking head coach was celebrating when they beat our backup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was talking. He was flexing in a tunnel like he was somebody.
But he waited until he was 2 steps into that door, about to be 2 steps into the door. And it just goes to show the true balls that he really had in that sense. So, I'm with you. I see that guy. I just want to bitch slap him.
He's the same guy. Yeah, he's the same guy that wears beat Dallas the week of the game. It's kind of like lowbrow, but it kind of reminds me a lot of
he helps the rivalry. He helps the rivalry.
Yeah, now he's already got more playoff wins than his buddy had with the Eagles, so I'll give him that. But the buddy.
See, there was this offseason, when the offseason, early in the thing, remember when the whole Lamar Jackson, where's he going to happen? Is he going to get re-signed? And there was a little bit of talk of Washington possibly picking him up. And so that part was the one where I was like, ooh, man, if we got to pay Lamar Jackson, like, that's going to be different. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think that we can beat him, because that defense, again, what did we have last year? We've talked about this, Brian, many times. The beginning of the year, all these sacks per game, 4 or 5 sacks, and then all of a sudden the rushing game started happening, and we had to hold those guys back to help the gaps. Now you got a Mozzie Smith, you got a Hankins, you got Osa Odighizuwa that does great. You got the garbage, big tree stump in the sense of Bohanna. I was thinking Bohanna, but
Quinn Bohanna.
Because I mean he's a big dude, and then so you got Gallimore maybe
Golston,
not in the little
man, he's coming on.
Golston. So I mean Gallimore might be the guy that's left out there a little bit. Might be a Raider. Yeah, but I could see him coming in and balling in this preseason.
What's
so
going
I'm
on?
interested.
What are you saying, Mike?
Well, Gallimore does my intro, so I hate to.
That's right.
No, and I think this is the year that you'll see
happened.
something. I think you'll see something through him this year.
Maybe you got some information that we don't have. What was going on last year with him? Nobody's listening. Like, just tell us what's going on with Nelson Gallimore.
I don't know, man.
He was our guy, man. He was the bright young future.
He came on. He was quiet, but then didn't he start picking it up a little bit?
Yeah, you got to get him into it. You got to get him into it. Yeah, he did.
Well, the year prior, he had that elbow, remember? And he missed 10 weeks. Came back.
Yeah.
He was never the same. But something happened in the offseason where he was in the doghouse.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to get in Dan Quinn's doghouse if you're a dog. I mean, like if you lay it out on the line for him, he normally loves his D. His guys. So that's what was weird. But I was telling Phil.
It's a lot of linemen. I mean, like you said,
it's a lot of linemen.
Is that used to be a weakness for us, and now, I mean, we got gashed and run all over and this and that. Now you look at Mozzie. I mean, Kelly's talked about his strength and his, he said it a million times. The guy's a freak. So I mean, this defensive line, the tackles, if they hold their own and they get it, I mean. You could see record number of sacks. It's
I agree.
Gonna be crazy.
I agree. I definitely agree. It's been, and then you
reminds
add.
me, just real
Well, I
quick,
mean, you think about let's keep going on this. Hold on before you write that down, Brian, because when we're
that's
talking
good.
about this,
No,
we're talking about the
I'm
sacks,
just
we're
gonna
talking about all
elaborate.
this stuff. Now you add that secondary. Diggs. Okay, I got to get the ball out of my hand. Am I going to go towards Diggs and just throw it up in the air? Or am I going to throw it up in the air to Stephon Gilmore, or am I going to go to the guy Deron Bland in the middle? I mean, they all are great at picking off that ball, and especially if a defensive lineman is in your face, I could definitely see some turnovers. I didn't have that same feeling when I was looking at this second. I didn't trust the secondary at all with an Anthony Brown as your number 2, and then once Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis came on, we're playing all year with our number 4 as the number 2, and nobody wants to give us credit. Nobody wants to say, oh well, Mukwamu, how was he doing? And nobody wants to give it. These are guys rookies. You got Deron Bland going in there, 5 interceptions. You got this year Eric Scott possibly going to do the exact same thing. So you got a nice 4th. What's going to happen with Boss Man Fat? So then we haven't even gotten into the safeties and where they're going to be. I mean, you got Curse, of course. I don't think Curse is getting enough credit this offseason, and that's because of what happened with Wilson. And I love Wilson. I love Hooker. I know there's
stacked on the defense,
but then you look at Overshown. But what happens when Curse or very known for injuries, Wilson? That's the one thing before last year he was very known for injuries. So when one of those guys goes out, you get kind of worried. Okay, what happens when he comes out and he's tired? Who am I going to put in there to keep this safety / linebacker going? And that's where you got Marion Overshown this past draft. That was my guy, man. This is the guy. He doesn't do anything amazingly great. He does everything well. And he just slings his body around. He's going to miss some tackles because of how he throws himself around. But I'm very excited about him coming into learning behind Curse, learning behind Wilson. And so I'm excited about that added piece. What do you guys think of Overshown? Is he going to be able to add to that linebacker safety room? Or is that just you guys see that as a bust for later on?
I wouldn't say bust, but go ahead, Mike.
I'll let Kelly go.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Kelly, go ahead.
He's a defensive guy.
Yeah, I like him. I didn't like the university he played with, but I
That's
He's
right. You're a
not-
Red Raider guy, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's right,
it's hard-
that's right.
hard for me to give a guy like that his flowers, but he's a Cowboy now, so I gotta put.
I'm
my
not a Texas guy
animosity
either.
to
My
the
father was
side.
born in Oklahoma, so he's
Yeah.
always at OU, and he's, so I'm
that's
with
that's
it.
a big rivalry. So we got to
Yep.
put that to the side though. Now he's a Cowboy, so yeah, I mean, and obviously he's a guy that's he's not big prototypical linebacker size. He's a little undersized, and they've talked about that he's I've put on a little bit of weight, to keep himself probably from getting injured more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think they've got a good situation back there, just in general with all the pieces they have. But I think he could definitely come in and in some situational plays. I don't think he'll be a guy that'll have a ton of snaps, but I think he's a guy that can contribute towards this defense. So I think the Cowboys have done a great job just in general along the draft in years past. And so they've earned my trust in terms of when they draft a guy, I feel like that guy's going to fit. I mean, you look at all the guys that they've hit on, it's not just their first round draft picks. It's not, it's the mid to late round picks where we found guys like a Deron Bland type guy. Even, obviously he,
Anthony
had his
Brown,
issues,
you're right.
But a guy like Anthony Brown, Anthony Brown was
6th round draft,
serviceable. They got a guy in a late round, so they've gotten a lot of guys in late rounds that
Or even
have come in
undrafted,
and so
yeah.
I trust them and I trust the process. So yeah, I think Overshown he'll fit right in.
What do you think, Mike? What do you think about
I
Overshown?
just, real quick, I would agree and just say the thing that I love about this defense is the versatility. I mean, you can bring Curse down at linebacker. You could Overshown. You could have him rushing the pass. I mean, you've got guys that you can move all around. I mean, obviously Parsons, you can do everything. Sam Williams, you got all these guys. So I think for Dan Quinn, he's got so many options. We can be. I mean, he's gonna have a fun time with his defense.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. I definitely agree. I think the only thing that to me, I liked and Bryan was saying, I go, going into the, what would you want extra? And I wanted a kicker, man. I wanted somebody that I could, and not going into camp with just
Like
one kicker,
like
just something, man. And
Mason Crosby, or Robbie Gold, something like that.
I wanted
Yeah,
something.
know.
I want a third leg going into training camp as well too. I mean, we just really haven't had the best of luck when it comes to kicker. Even Monty Maher last year, we were just that reassurance kind of felt better. You're like, okay, we got a guy that can finally. And then the Tampa Bay game happens, and you're just like, what? And there's some people that wanted to bring a guy like Maher back. I didn't feel great. Once that kicker kind of loses that confidence, you don't have that same kicker. I mean, Vanderjack, when he came in here, most accurate kicker in NFL history. But by the time he finished with the Cowboys, yeah, that was long gone. So how do you guys feel about the special teams? I'm going to go special teams. I'm going to go all over. We're going to talk about I want to hear about your take on, Turpin. Is it actually going to be a Turpentine? Or is it going to be, it's just going to be the same results from last year? What do you guys feel about Turpin
I'll
kicking?
go real quick. It's just to say that everybody in the chat that was here last year, and shout out to the 28 people in the chat. I wanted to see Turpin running more go routes last year. I wanted them, listen, I understand he's 5'8", 55, 160 pounds, but you could go up the field, at least, open up some, you're going to have to cover the man. He's fast. So I think with Brandon Cooks, I still would like to see Turpin more maybe used at times on the other side. That'll open up all that underneath, especially for our young tight ends. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Kevontae Turpin? Do you think he's a lock to be on the team, or you think Deuce Vaughn might take his spot, or no?
I mean, the thing is, Turpin came right from the USFL right to the NFL.
Oh, yeah,
now
true.
Full season with the team, so maybe they'll get some more. I think
Good point.
That's true.
They should use him as a weapon, a little bit more on offense, than obviously they did last year. It's just interesting with special teams. The NFL just keeps trying to take it out, but he's dynamite. And I know Deuce Vaughn's there too. I think Turpin makes the team. I think he's done enough to earn his spot, and I think he's a weapon for us. And so I'm all in on him, and I think he can be a game changer. You can never have enough playmakers on a team, like my man Michael Irvin always says.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, and I think just like the defensive players that learn from one of the great minds in Dan Quinn, so will Turpin with John Fossil. John Fossil is a great special teams coach, and I think that Turpin last year had a pretty damn good year coming from the XFL and or USFL and coming.
Can you imagine playing that long? In a row, going from one season to another. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. That's what like Mike said. The guy he played basically 2 seasons last year back to back with no breaks. Now he's got a full off season. An actual NFL team strength and conditioning coach to get him in the off season to where he needs to be, and then working with Fossil, who is a great special teams coach.
He is.
So I think he is a lock to make the team. I know that there has been some talk about, Deuce Vaughn, and maybe he gets a couple looks. He did it his freshman year, and then after that they didn't do it. So he didn't really do that at Kansas State. Not to say that he couldn't. I just don't see him filling that role. I think it's more of Turpin. I think Turpin's the guy that he's explosive. He's very fast, and I would like to see him get some more opportunities within the offense, whether it be a go route or put him on a little wide receiver screen and put him out into space and watch him do his thing. Because when he does get out into space, he's a dangerous guy that can make one man miss and then he can be gone. So he had several times last year where he was just by the hair, man, that he got caught, tripped up, shoelace tackle, whatever, that kept him from having a couple returns. But there was many times that he put the Cowboys in great position, field position wise, taking that ball out and putting it up on the, whether it be between the 30, the 40, sometimes even out to the 50-yard line. So I like Turpin. I do think he is a lock to make the team. I just feel like his speed is something that is going to keep him around. I think he's very intriguing, and I think he'll have a better year this year than last year, actually.
Yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense. One thing I like about this team, and I think you kind of jumped on that, is when you talk about any kind of Super Bowl, and I'm not going to predicting any kind of thing, but when you talk about any type of Super Bowl, the first thing that happens, and you guys were talking about it, is staying healthy. What happens when you look back at the Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys? Troy Aikman got injured, and then the backup came in. They had to sign a dude from that was at home the week before, and he helps us go through. That's what Cooper Rush was last year. I didn't have that same confidence, but after this body of work, he kind of showed some stuff, and he kind of even showed Dak a little bit about what he needed to do. Now, when I look at this team, that's what I love. I love the depth behind everybody, and you can almost every single player that's starting, you can substitute him with someone that is very similar. And I think that's where you got, we're talking about Turpin. And, in a kickoff where you have Turpin maybe on one side, maybe you have Deuce on the other side as the kickoff kind of thing, that may be where you'll see him come in, maybe when Turpin has to rest because, maybe he's getting in on the offense a little bit more. But, we were waiting that. We wanted to see at least one shot down the field with Turpin, and we just weren't getting that. And that's where I wonder with Kellen Moore, who at what point, who was stopping that from happening? Who was stopping Jalen Tolbert from coming in? So, we're hearing about this offseason where Jalen Tolbert, Simi Fehoko are very impressive going in. So I really expect some big things from them. But again, we're talking about depth guys. And that's the one thing that this team is very, very good about this year is they have depth guys. If you had to pick like one guy on your backup, not the starters, that you would feel good about coming in, and I don't mean okay, Damian, you got Wilson, and of course you got Curse, and a lot of times they're not in there, but they like to play the 3 safety. Who's your favorite backup, and that's going to take a step forward this year and maybe become a starter for this team for the future? So if you had to pick one, go ahead. Game time, give me yours, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, exactly. I had to put you on the spot.
So you want a backup?
I want a backup.
Could be a starter.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like if I had to choose one, I would probably put my money on Sam Williams, because last year I went into going, this guy is amazing in the sense of his move, his bend, he'll get under, but he has no moves. But he got to the quarterback. And so now he's had a whole season under Dan Quinn to learn some moves. With Micah Parsons there, D-Law, these guys showing him some moves. DeMarcus Ware coming into camp. So, I'm interested to see how he's going to transition into his next year. And that's a guy that I could see definitely taking the other opposite side and maybe pushing DeMarcus Lawrence out of the way a little bit. and kind of making him a more of expendable kind of a guy. So that would be my pick. Go ahead, Game Time.
Well, if you're asking me who I think is a backup that could be a starter going forward, I would have to go towards our safety position. I don't think Malik Hooker is long. I like Malik Hooker. He had a fine year last year. It wasn't anything great, but Marquise Bell, I keep hearing how good he is and how he's going to be our future at safety. I don't know how much run he's going to get this year. I don't want to take up too many guys, but I'm really excited about him. And on the offense, I'm really excited about Jalen Tolbert. It's like he's totally different than where he was at the end of last year. He's running routes with confidence. He's where he's supposed to be. Now, it's all 7-on-7 in the DAC yard, so we'll see. But those are the two guys that I think. Jalen Tolbert has all the ability in the world. It's up here where he's got to put it. He's got to be able to play with speed and know where he's going. So,
all right. So
those
Mike,
are my two. I took two. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you bastard. Too selfish.
I left a lot of meat on the bone.
Sure you did. Yeah, because we got a lot of depth. So give me yours, Mike. Tell me who you think is that guy. Who is him?
Sam Williams was my.
Oh my! I stole it from you. I stole it.
Jalen Tolbert was he's taken. Well, let's go. I think I'm interested to see what he does. I know they were really high on him in injuries, and I think for us to be successful, he's going to have to step up because it's like I said,
Tyron Smith. Yep.
Line is always a spot where we get some injuries. So I would say that would be my one if I had to pick one.
Okay. All right, Kelly, tell me yours.
Like,
all right, man. I'm gonna go with. I'll go two. I'll go one offensive side, and I'm gonna say, just based off of what the Cowboys, I feel like that they feel, and some things that you hear from them is that Let's-Go could be a guy that cracks that starting, offensive line and is a starter by year's end. At least I hope so, because there's not a lot of depth there. Yeah. So I'm hoping that we got a starter in him, and that he is what the Cowboys see. And then I'm gonna also go safety as well, but I'm gonna go a different direction. A guy that I like, and I would hope to see that. I don't hope to see because I don't want there to be injuries. But I'd say if he takes over, it's probably going to be in the way of an injury. But I like Israel Mukwamu.
Okay,
I think I said that last name right.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
but I really like him. I like him. I like his potential. And I think he's got a lot of athletes. He's another guy that when we talk about depth behind, in that safety position, he didn't see the field a whole lot last year, but he's got some upside. And I think he's, you look at his measurements, and he's a guy who I could see, coming in and having some plays and having a good preseason. And, if there's an injury, he could be a guy that could sneak in there and snag a spot and end up being on the.
He stepped in huge last year in Tampa in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one. I know. That's why I said there was meat. That was nothing. I mean, he's going to be. I'm telling you. I don't know how long Gilmore. I'm not trying to get him out already, but I think he has a home on this team playing in the secondary. Mukwamu, whether it's safety or at cornerback, dude made some plays. Mm-hmm. So I think. Bye, boss man fat is what I think is about to happen. But
he can start his rap career now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
he can start his rap career. So we talked a lot.
Hide him any longer.
So one person that I was going to bring in, unfortunately I couldn't reach out and stuff like that, but I'm glad that we were able to bring him in. Was I really wanted to get the word of Jerry Jones and hear what Jerry thinks about this upcoming season, because most of the time when I hear Jerry talking, it's a lot of old man rambling. And so now that we've gotten him in here, I kind of want to ask him, hey, last year, it's kind of the same, results from the year before. How do you feel about this team going into it, and how do you feel about your son Steven getting these contracts done? So, Jerry, go ahead and take the floors.
Well, now here's the thing. Sometimes when you have a son and you give him the keys to the Bentley, and you trust him to drive that Bentley the same way that you would. It doesn't always work out. Steven's hit a few potholes. He's put a couple of scuffs on the rims. Now I'm just hoping he doesn't, do any body damage. But, he's got the keys, and I've got to trust him to do his job. And if not, I may have to take the keys back and drive that sumbitch myself. But now, in terms of this season and going forward with this team, I have to look at the bigger picture. Sometimes a great piece of meat has to marinate for a while. Okay? We have marinated for the last 2 years, and now it's time to break out the main dish. Okay, we're gonna come out there. We've got this thing all shined up with the nice shiny lid on top of the main dish. We're about to unveil that sumbitch on Monday Night Football when we take on the New York Giants. And I want to thank their owner for giving Danny Pesos $40 million. Thank you. So get ready, Cowboys Nation, because this season is going to be one hell of a ride.
All right, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate
Congrats,
it. Thank
man.
you for
Awesome.
coming. I
That
appreciate
was
it. That was awesome. That
Jerry,
was amazing.
Hey, Jerry, get your son. He needs to get his fucking act together and start signing some players.
Kelly's
Anyway,
like, I'm not going to be able to talk
I'll be
right the
nice.
rest of the night. But no, man, we've gone pretty
sorry.
good. I mean, I'm pretty sure
Thank
we
you.
could sit here and we could talk all night Cowboys football, and that's just how it
one
is.
thing. I was looking at my. It's almost been an hour and a half, guys.
It just doesn't feel
that
like
went
anything.
awful fast. So
It always
my
does.
Lord.
It always does.
That was
It's
impressive,
easy to
though.
Talk Cowboys.
So on this, guys, so in the chat, if you look at the live chats, up in the top, I have both Mike Tagg's YouTube, so you guys can subscribe to him. I got Kelly K-9 in this Twitter, so you guys can
And
subscribe
there's
to
over
him.
10,000 followers. My man's a machine on that. Hey, and on TikTok as well. He's all over the place, man. He is.
So
Appreciate it, fellas.
So I appreciate you guys coming through here. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of the floor to let the people know where they can find you if they hadn't already, in the sense even after that chat, just so they can verbally hear you as well, because you got some people that don't watch the chat and everything as well. So Mike, tell people where can they find you if they hadn't already.
Yeah, no, definitely. I appreciate it. I had a great time as always. All social media is pretty simple. mtag1993. You can go to thecowboyscave.com. The Cowboys Cave YouTube, it's primarily Kelly and I, holding it down for Cowboys Nation. That's Cowboys Cave. You can see it on YouTube, and we go live. We've had, former players. We had Barry Switzer, got Coach Campo. We've had, a bunch of people on there, Super Bowl champions from the Steelers. So we try and bring a lot of history, bring a lot of some of the rivalry back to the Cowboys and have a good time. So we're having a blast doing it. So definitely check us out if you haven't already.
I appreciate
that's great,
that.
man.
So Kelly, where can they find you if they hadn't already?
So same on Twitter as it is on TikTok. It's at Kelly K-9, and then also on the Cowboys Cave with YouTube. Me and Mike do that every Thursday
Yeah,
night.
man, I
sometimes
watch.
on Wednesday
Jump in
night.
there.
And then when the season starts, I'm sure we're gonna kick things up a notch, and we're gonna have some extra nights and extra times that we do. So, but yeah, so pretty simple, man. At Kelly K-9 on both TikTok and Twitter. So I'm looking forward to getting this season going and
Man, see
hopefully
some football.
nothing but good things.
Yeah, and before I jump to you, GameTime, we had I Love Weed put a nice super chat in there for 420. He says the clock is back.
Oh, yeah, Mr.
The clock is back. Go Cowboys! And so I wanted to make sure that I got it because I really appreciate the love. Yes, again.
I don't know what I Love Weed is possibly be thinking. Oh, wait, that's right.
Well, he tuned in last week and my clock was wrong, and he's like, I can't deal with this shit, and so he was out of here. So a game time. Anything you want to say to people before we get out and we're back next week?
It was a rough week. I live in enemy territory here. I think we chased a few of our Eagles out of here, which is fine. We could do that from time to time. They'll be back. They're mods, so they'll be okay. Listen, sometimes I can't just be nicey nice. It's getting ready for the rubber to hit the road here. The season's going to start. It's all fun and games, but I want to win every damn game that we suit up for. We don't play the Eagles until a little bit into the season, which is good. Everybody can get their footing. Mm-hmm. But I'm just excited for yet another team, another year, hopefully a super year. I'm getting ready to go to the Hall of Fame in 2 weeks. I'll be there with Mark Holmes. We'll be bringing you some content. Never been there. I'm looking forward to it. I know Mike Tagg said that Chuck Halley's not doing too great. I'd like to shake his hand if possible. I definitely want to talk to DeMarcus Ware. Shout out to him. But yeah, I'm just excited for the season, man. It's been a long off season, but it moved pretty quick. But I'm ready for it to get rolling, man. I just am.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited about this season. I'm excited about this team in so many different ways. Again, I'm with you guys. Game time. I haven't been to the new stadium, so that's something in my that I want to go in as well. And so I won't go the same time as Mike is there because I don't want to counter his maybe good luck that he comes in there. I'm not messing with that shit.
Yeah.
I'm a little superstitious when it comes to that stuff.
closet.
So I'm like, I'm not messing it. I'm not messing with it. Is Mike going to be there? No, I'm not. No, that's okay. So I appreciate you guys coming through. I appreciate you guys watching, replaying, doing any of that stuff. Next week, Game Time Bryan has reached out. It looks like we might have Cole's Cowboy, Space Cowboy.
Space Cowboy Media is going to join us.
So there's going to be some guys. We're going to keep it going. We want to get some people's opinions of this team. I mean, there's so many YouTube content creators out there that do amazing work, and I really want to get their opinion because that's something I love it. We're a family, and you have in your family, there's always that one cousin that embarrasses you, and that's the one guy that's like, "Hey, Cowboys, the Super Bowl every year," and so you're like, okay, well, that's just my cousin, and so I appreciate you guys coming through. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate everybody sharing, liking, doing whatever you guys. Jump on these guys' channels. Subscribe if you can. Game Time. I will see you next week. And guys at home, man, don't forget to do what?
Ring that bell.
Damn right. All right.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do? You're like a little screw loose type of guy, and I thought that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Game Time Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here,
Cool name. Superpowers?
broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And, of course, my co-host, Game Time Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000. I don't even need to hear it.